Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 2 of the Christmas Craft Countdown for 2021. I'm revealing a brand new craft project every day for 20 days, and if you want to get all of the cut files and other assets so that you can craft along with me, head to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021. Today's project is a wonderful 3-dimensional greetings card, which you can see here. It's called a concertina window card. And as you can see, if I turn it round, this has so much depth to it. How it works is there's a window in the front, and then we make a little accordion which sits inside for all of the embellishments to sit on top of. Best of all, it folds completely flat, so you can post it really, really easily. And then when it comes out the envelope, it just needs popping up at the side, and it all comes back to life. Let's see how to make it. First, you need to download the cutting file to make this project. If you aren't already signed up to the Christmas Craft Countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021 to join. If you have already purchased the countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/login to log in to your account and access all of the Christmas Craft Countdown files. Once logged in, click into the Christmas Craft Countdown. Scroll down the page and all the files will become available on the date specified. The files do not expire, so you can download them at any time. All of the files for this project will be under the Day 2 heading. After downloading the cutting files, you'll need to unzip the folder that they come in. If you aren't sure how to do that, check the link in the description of this video, which contains instructions on how to unzip folders on Windows computers, Macs, and Android and iPhone devices. After you've unzipped the folder, take a look at the files which are included inside. For this card making project, I've included 2 separate ways to open the design in Cricut Design Space. The first is just like you normally would with an SVG file that you can upload into Design Space. The second is a Design Space project file, and that's one that I've created already in Design Space. If you are a Cricut user, I recommend using the Design Space project file and not the SVG, and that's because all of the things like score lines will be automatically set up, so you'll literally just be able to open the project and then cut it out, and you don't need to do anything fancy in Design Space. The project has been made with the free Design Space shape, so you don't need the Cricut Access subscription to be able to open it. There's a PDF file included in your download folder which has the link to open the Design Space project. I'll show you both though. I'll show you the project first and then I'll show you how to format the SVG file, just in case you want to use that one instead. So for the project, once you've clicked the link in the folder, in the PDF file, it will take you to a page which looks like this. So you want to just press open, and then it will give you a little pop-up asking if you want to open Design Space. So yes, you do. So click Open Cricut Design Space, and then it will open up Design Space on your computer, and it will automatically come up with the project. This is what it looks like. So then down the bottom, press Customize. And then that will open it up. I'm just going to make Design Space fill my whole screen. And this is what it looks like. So you can see that all of these score lines are already all set to score, which you know because it's got these dashed lines. So this is all completely ready to go out and cut. It's all sized exactly as it is supposed to be, and it is just ready for you to click Make It and get everything cut out. Now I'm going to show you how to upload the SVG file in case you don't want to use the Design Space project. So go into Upload on the left and then click Upload Image, and then find the folder that you unzipped, and then you're looking for the file called SVG Concertina Card Craft with Sarah. You can either click Browse to find it, or I'm just going to drag and drop mine in, and this is what it should look like, and then press Upload. It will then be in your recent uploads, so you can click on it and then go Add to Canvas. Now this loads in quite small by default, and there are a few things that it's really important to bear in mind. One is the size. This is too small at the moment, we'll need to resize it. 2, the score lines are cut lines at the moment. So Design Space is going to try and cut where all of these straight lines are instead of scoring it. And thirdly, the cut lines, which should be score lines, aren't attached to the layers underneath. So if I was to click Make It now and just see what this does, and then you see it's just randomly put them on some different colors of mats. It's just going to do random cut lines. So there's quite a lot of work we need to do to this before we can cut it. And that's why I recommend using the Design Space project, because everything I'm about to do is done for you. All right, so first I am going to work on the score lines. So click the whole thing, and then at the moment you see it's got a whole box around it, which means that all the layers are grouped. So at the top of the layers panel, press Ungroup. You can then see in the layers panel you have several little groups, and this is for each of the 4 different sections, which you can see. So in the ones of these that have the lines that we need to convert to score lines, you'll be able to see it because you've got this layer which is just showing you random horizontal or vertical lines. So click those layers in the layers panel one at a time, go into the operation drop down on the left and change it to score. And that will change all of those lines to dashed, which means they're now score lines. So I'm going to do that for all 4 of these. Score. Sorry, all 3. There's only 3. The last one is down here. There. Okay, so now all my cut lines are set to score lines, but we're still going to have that problem where if we click Make It now, it would still do all the score lines on a random piece of card and not where we want them to go. To tell the Cricut that we want to actually score in this position, we need to attach the layers. So click the first piece and then go down the bottom of the layers panel and press Attach. There aren't any score lines on this green square, so I'm going to leave that one. And then go over to the one on the right hand side and again press Attach. The one down the bottom's a bit different because this, if you look at the layers panel, is a group within a group. So the reason it's done this is we've got our main layer, the orange one with those score lines, and then the 2 squares which sit in the middle. We need to ungroup this first, so let's press Ungroup once. And now you can see that that red and green square are no longer in a group, but the bottom part still is, which is what we want. So I've clicked that bottom part, and now I can press Attach. And that moves it all the way to the top, so I'm just going to go Arrange, Center Back, so that I can see those squares again. The next thing we need to do is resize everything. And to make sure that all of these squares resize together, I'm going to drag a box around those bottom sections again, and then press Group to put them back into that group that we did just ungroup, because now we've done the attaching, so that is all good. So these are the sizes you want to change it to. This very top one that has the white cutout square in the middle should be 10.5 inches in width and 6 inches tall. So you should find that by changing the width, the height will automatically change to what it should be. And I don't know why Design Space is changing the size of this when I upload it, because in my design software it is the correct size, but Design Space is shrinking it. So I don't know why it's doing that. I tried for about 3 hours and I couldn't work it out. So that's why we need to resize it. So this bottom piece down here, the width should be 7 inches and the height should be 6 inches. And then for this green square up here, this should be 5.5 inches on both sides. And then finally, this piece here should be a width of 5.75 inches and a height of 10 inches. And now if I zoom out a bit, we can see everything again. And now this is finally ready to go ahead, click Make It and cut everything out. So I hope that this helped you to see that opening the Design Space project really is the easiest way to work with this file. But if for whatever reason you can't do that, the SVG file is there so that you can upload that. You just need to do those few extra tweaks. So whichever one you're using, go ahead and cut everything out, and then I'll show you how to stick it all together. Here's everything I need for this project. I've got my double-sided tape, which I love this tape runner. I'll put a link in the description of the video. I've got all the pieces cut out with my Cricut machine. And then I've got some embellishments, which I'm going to use to put inside the card on those concertina steps. And I've just raided this from my craft stash. So a lot of this is quite old. It's a few years old now. And I tend to just stock up whenever I see Christmassy bits on clearance. So January is normally when I do all of my Christmas craft shopping. And then I just save the pieces. So there's lots of different bits here. I've tried to keep it all quite traditional. Lots of florals and reds and greens. So everything kind of matches. I wasn't sure about these little character buttons because they're a little bit more contemporary. But we shall see when everything's stuck together. So that can all go to one side for now. And then let's take a look at what we've got here. So this is the front of the card with the window. I've got my mat and layer, which is going to go on the inside that you'll be able to see through that hole. This is the back piece, so the square with just two little edges on it. That's going to be the back. And then we've got another glittery gold piece and white, and that is the back of the card, as in the very back. So that's where you'll write the message to your recipient who gets your lovely handmade card. And then finally there is this piece with all the lines down it, and this is going to make the concertina shelves inside. So to get started, we want the front of the card, and we're going to start by turning it upside down and then fold it upwards on the last score line, so the score lines that are closest to the window. So if your score lines aren't quite thick enough, then you might want to do them again with a scoring tool and a ruler. I think mine have actually just about come out okay with the Cricut. So fold that down. And then I'll do the same on the other side. So the score line that's closest to the middle is going to come up. And I've used really, really thick card, which I didn't quite mean to use it so thick, but I wanted the green colour. So this is probably in excess of 300 GSM. I actually had to cut it on the craft board setting on my Cricut to get it to cut through. So it is super duper thick, which is why my creases aren't coming out quite as neat as they could. If it was thinner cardstock, it would be better. And also, if I could find my bone folder to get nice edges on here. Oh, actually, you know what? It's right by my feet on my paper trimmer. So here's my bone folder. It's really just a bit of plastic that you can use to just get those fold lines really crisp. Okay, so this will be the front of the card. It will stand up like that. But what we now need to do is fold these other tabs inwards. So this is upside down at the moment. I'm not very good at explaining today, am I? Gosh. Just folding these in. So it's almost like you're halving the height. So you see how that bit there, here, it was really long. It's just folded in on itself like that. Do the same on this side. So just fold it down that score line. And then make it nice and crisp. There. Okay, so that is the front piece all done for the time being. Just going to pull these open a bit. There, that's how it's looking so far. So let's move on to the concertina piece. Now there's 2 levels of concertina in the card, so you want to position this so that you've got the thinner rectangles at the bottom and the thicker ones at the top. And then you have some teeny little tabs on the end. So first I'm going to start with the tab along the bottom, this little tab here, and fold it upwards like that to make a valley fold. And then the next score line, I'm going to fold that downwards to make a mountain fold. So a mountain fold pops up like a mountain, whereas a valley fold goes down in a V shape, like a valley. So again, because my card is really thick, it's being a little bit resistant. But there we go. And then the next one will be a valley fold again. So I'm going to go upwards on that one. There. And then this next one, a mountain fold. So down like this. I'm actually going to turn it over and try and do it because this card is just hating me today. I should have scored my score lines deeper, but I was like, no, it'll be fine. And of course, when you're recording it on video, it's never fine. Okay, so, that's upside down. There we go. This is how it should be looking. And then we've just got one little tab left on the back, which we will valley fold. So that's going to come up like that. So we've made an accordion. If you look at it this way, you can see it all folds up flat. And then you end up with something which looks like this. And then you can just go down and just really burnish all of those lines to get the folds crisp. There. I might do it on the back as well. Okay, so that should now stand up of its own accord, which it does. So we can stick this inside the front of the card. And how this is going to work is you'll have the frame around it so that you can see those concertina pieces inside. And then when you fold it, the edges will push out so it will fold flat for posting. So turn your front piece upside down and open out the edges. And then what you're going to do is position your accordion so that the bit with the smaller little square is going to be towards that window. And then add some double-sided sticky or glue to the front of that tab bit, so right along here. And you want to make sure you put it all the way along. And I'm going to do 2 layers so it's super duper sturdy, and then glue it so it's going along the bottom of that window, or sorry, along the bottom of the whole piece, so it's level with where your base card will be. I'm going to turn it. I find it easier to stick things at an angle. There we go. So that fits nicely in there. And then we can add the back piece. So before we add the back piece, we're going to put the decorations on, as it's just much easier to do that before it's all stuck together onto the base. So first we have our card here with the score lines. I'm going to fold both of those score lines upwards. So we're doing valley folds here. Got the deep V. There we go. And then with these bits facing up towards you, we're going to add our 2 little layers right in the middle. To start with, I'll put flowers onto the glitter. I love this double-sided tape roller. It works so well. And the sound it makes is really satisfying. That goes right in the middle. And then this one goes in the middle here. Make sure it doesn't go over any of those fold lines. It should be sitting exactly in the middle of that square. There we go. Okay, time to put the back on the card. This is where things get a little bit tricky because we need to do sort of 3 things at once. We're going to need to turn this over, and then actually what I'm going to do at this point is stick these on the back. Again, I think that would be easier to do now. And if you wanted to, you could write your message now rather than when it's on the card. Again, that would just, it's nice and flat at the moment, so it'll be easier to write on. But I'm not going to write on it because I don't actually know who I'm going to give this to yet. I tend to make those important decisions once all my Christmas cards are made. There's that one on there. Then more tape. You could use glue if you want, but I love how quick the tape is, and then you don't need to wait for it to dry, which is going to become very helpful very shortly. Oops, got a bit of tape sticking out there. Okay. That's not very in the middle. Well, that's what happens when you rush things. Okay, so as I was saying before, we're going to need to put some tape along this tab, and then that will stick on there. And then once we've done that, then we need to stick the edges together. So first, we're adding tape to this back tab on the accordion, and it's just the little tab at the bottom, this little 1/2 inch. So fold it all down flat, and then put your tape on. Ooh, I was about to try that right-handed, and it really wasn't gonna work. I'm left-handed. Okay, I've gone over it a bit. And another really nice thing with this tape is it's got all these slits in it. So if you accidentally go over the edge of a bit of card, you can just sort of fold it in on itself. And it just makes it neater. And yeah, there we go. So there's that. And then we're going to stick our inside. So this is the inside of the card, remember? That goes face down. And then stick it along the bottom. So you want to line up the score lines on this with these score lines either side. So they're going to line up perfectly. And this is a little bit fiddly, this step. There's probably an easier way to do it. There we go. Just check those score lines. Cool. Okay. Push that down. And now we can get the sides done. So you can either put your sticky tape down the little tab on the back of the card and then stick it to the inside. And that's what I'd recommend because then that's hidden. or you can stick it on the outside like this, but then you will see the join. So I'm going to do it to the inside, just so it's that little bit neater. I've just managed to dislodge all that tape. That wasn't very clever. Okay, right. So I will start with the left, add tape down that tab on the back of the card, and on my table too, because why not? And then you can just close up the outer tab and it should line up perfectly along where you've just put that tape. And then the same on the other side. So tape down there. It's a bit of a wiggly line. And then fold it down this fold line. And it should line up perfectly. There. Okay, and that is the base of the card all stuck together. So shall we see how it looks? Let's pop it up. And then you'll need to just pop it out a little bit the first couple of times. But here it is. So this is looking pretty cool. We've got the window at the front where it's showing our pretty paper through, and then the 2 levels of concertina where we're going to add all the decorations. And then it stands up wonderfully, but it'll fold flat for postage. So when you're adding your decorations in the middle, you need to think about how it will appear when it is folded flat. So you don't want to put anything too close to the edges that will go underneath, otherwise you won't get that flatness. So we're going to keep our decorations to the middle section. I've got these die cut greetings, and I think I will add, I probably want a portrait one so it doesn't take up too much space. So let's go, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. How many of you sang the song in your heads then when I said that? I did. All right, so need to think about how this is going to look when it's stood up and how far down you want the greetings to go. I think that looks quite good. You want to make sure that it's down far enough that it's not going to just fall down and hit that base, but you still need to be able to see it. I've just dropped it. So let's try that. So I'll add some tape about halfway down. And then stick that inside the card on that second accordion. So think about there. And you can just kind of push it down because it all folds flat anyway. So just push that down. And there is my first little decoration. And probably went a little bit close to the edge there, but it'll be okay. Why isn't that folding flat? Oh, I guess. Ignore that. All right, let's have a look at what else I have. So, got some poinsettia flowers, and these have got little 3D bits on the back, so I could just peel that off. And I want to make sure these don't go over the bits that fold flat, otherwise it won't fold anymore. I think one in that top corner. And then I've got some gold ones too. Put a gold one on that concertina, so when this is all out, you'll be able to see it popping out from that one at the back. So I quite like designing it like this, where we're switching between popping it out and lying it flat, just so you can make sure everything is where it's supposed to be and it's not overlapping itself. I think one more poinsettia at the front. And then I might put one on the outside too. And of course you can cut other bits of paper or card, pattern paper to decorate the outside. What I might do is use some patterned paper on these edges just to make them a little bit more funky. There we go, so that is still pretty flat, which is good for posting. And I could probably move that one a little bit over. Okay. Right, so it's kind of hard to show you how it's looking. You'll be able to see it at the end when I show you the whole thing. But now you can just carry on going and decorating it with as much or as little as you want. And then it will all fit into an A5 envelope, a pre-made envelope, when you are done. Or there are envelope templates in Cricut Design Space if you want to make your own. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make a concertina window card. Don't forget to get the files so that you can make this. Head to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021. I'll see you again tomorrow for another craft project, and I just know you're going to love tomorrow's craft project. It is a very, very impressive one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.